Hey everyone, it's the Shop Back video, and today I have something that I put a lot of work into. We are going over the general entirety of Ash 12 and 14 and all the comps that are viable for the dungeon. Obviously, there's a ton of variations, but I gathered together some of the most prominent ones to give you guys all an options. When we're going to go over the stats, the gear sets, the traits, we're going to go over everything that you need to know in order to build out these comps. Let's jump into it. So here we are, we're on the XP Jelly calculator. For those of you that don't know, this is my spreadsheet. It's in every single description of any video that I make. And in the bottom here, you'll see, like right there we go. There you'll see the Ash team breakdown. That is going to be this sheet right here. You can see that it's divided up into Ash 12 and Ash 14. These are separate comps for depending on the difficulty of the stage you're doing. This should be on my website soon. We're going to be releasing the website soon, most likely. With all this information, but you can see here we have all the team comps with all the portraits, the turn order, the speeds, the stats, the times, arbitrary names that I gave them, and all the good stuff that you actually need to know in order to build these comps on your own. So let's go ahead and go through it a little bit and kind of show you how to actually use this sheet in order for you to build the comps on your own. So it's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. First off, we have the 4 characters that you'll need. And then we'll have the portraits here of each character. So for example, this first one, the Ice Wolf comp, many of you have seen this. This is for Ash 12. And for the Ice Wolf comp, you're going to need Mary, Santis, Ice Wolf, and Nathalia. Then we have the allotted time that this on average takes for a battle. I have the low and the high time right here off to the side. And then we have all the stats over here that you can see and whether or not you need the traits and the gear sets. Now let's talk about this and how to interpret this. So first off, we have the turn order. This can be specified and it also cannot be depending on what you're looking at. So for example, on the far right here, you'll see that it says 3-4 or 4-3. This means that these characters are interchangeable between their third and fourth slot, depending on what comp you're running. And some of them are not interchangeable, meaning like this one right here, you absolutely need them in this specific turn order in order for this comp to work. So Santis is going first in the Ice Wolf comp. You need her to go first because you don't want her to go after Mary, because if you go after Mary, you're going to lose the Invincible. Ice Wolf goes after Mary because you want him to lose the Invincible, and then Nathalia goes last, and she also needs to be in between the speeds of the Ash 12 characters. So the boss is at 139 speed, so if you're at 140, you're faster than them. And then the waves, I believe, are at 121 from what I've heard. If I'm wrong about this, let me know, but I believe it's 121, and so 122 should give you enough speed in order for you to go above the waves. At least that's the information that I got from some people in my Discord. So I went ahead with that. I haven't tested the exact speed in weeks for the Ash 12, so I can adjust that real quick if that needs to be. But basically all you need to know is that you need to go between the waves, and that's what these speeds kind of mean. The speeds change if you're on Ash 14. You'll see down here you need 145 plus or 143 to 128 speed in order for you to go before the waves. Then we have the HPs levels, and these HP levels are basically the base HPs that you'll actually need to acquire, along with the defense. Now, if you have, let's say on Mary, you have, I don't know, 1200 defense and 10k HP, that could also work. These are just suggestions that allow the comp to work. There are many different variations. I can't go through all of them, but these are just baseline stats that you'll need. And then, for example, here for Nathalia, in order to go Ash 12, I put 4200 attack, 250% crit damage. Now, this one's a unique one because I actually put this here and then said yes to the trait because you'll want Santis trait. But actually, you can go no with the trait and do this, and you'll have a fine run. If you run a good enough Nathalia, you'll have enough damage. It really just depends. If you have the trait, you can use less stats. If you do not have the trait, you'll have to go with those higher stats, and you'll definitely want a curse set for this because it'll reduce the amount of chances that it might fail if you do not have the Nathalia stats quite where it needs to be. If you don't have an insane Nathalia, the win percentage sometimes is around 90 to 95%, so just keep that in mind. Then we have the focus, and the focus is absolutely necessary. You'll need the bare minimum of focus. Any character or any slot that's blacked out here basically means that it does not matter. You can have as much as you want or as little as you want. Generally, there are some exceptions. For example, like if you have, I don't know, what's a good example? Good example is one of these the Ice Wolf team here, the Ice Wolf 2.0 team that Andy came up with. I think it's this one right here. If your Ciara has too much damage, for example, you'll clear out the waves too fast and it'll mess up the speed tune. So keep that in mind. But you have the trait here, and if it says yes to the trait, you'll absolutely need the trait in order for this team to be successful. And of course, we have the spells here on the left-hand side, and that will give you the spells that you actually want. And we have all sorts of different comps here. We have the Gengello comps are going to be down here at the last slots. Generally, there's a ton of different Gengello comps you could run, but I just put in a couple. And there's obviously a ton more comps you can run, but I only have space for a few of them. But a lot of them require Nathalia. There's a Molhex comp in here for Ash 12. There's a Hydricia only comp for those of you that were asking. There's even some more speedier comps down here with 1 minute times. Even the Zitlin comp down here with 50-second runs with Zitlin. And then in Ash 14, the stats obviously go up dramatically. Traits are almost always required. The gear sets, some of them you can do without gear sets, and some of them you cannot. Meaning that, let's say you have an Avarice set here that I say yes. That is because if I decide to run 4,500 attack with 280% crit damage, for example here, I will need an Avarice set. If I run 5k attack and 300% crit damage, I may not need an Avarice set. So those are just representative of the minimum stats. And I also put some ranges down here when I was doing some of the more complicated comps with a lot of gear requirements, just because I felt like it would be kind of interesting to see. For example, like right here we have Nathalia. You can either go with 4,000 crit attack and 290% crit damage, or you go with 4,400 attack and 265% crit damage. Those are roughly the same amount of damage. Really depends on how much attack and crit damage you have. But just note that all of these stats aren't hard numbers. Some of them you can kind of play with. For example, on this Ash 14 comp down here, right here, my Opal speed comp that I created, you could run, let's say, 4,500 attack on Opal with 330% crit damage, and you can go lower attack and crit damage on Nathalia. So obviously, I'm just giving you the kind of general views of some of these comps. Obviously, you can go ahead and adjust them as you see fit. Let's just say you have a guard set and you need a guard set for your Nathalia for whatever comp you're running. Well, you're going to have to run whatever pieces you can to get that guard set. And if you need to make up more damage on another character, you can go ahead and do that by making up more damage on another character. It's definitely up to you to figure out some of these portions of the comps, because these are just the stats, the characters, the speed order, and all that good stuff that you actually need to know. And then, of course, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the abilities are right here. The abilities are on or off. I believe there's only one team here down here that actually wants Santa's. Yeah, this one right here, the Celestial King Gengello comp. The ones that I've watched are Santa's abilities on from what I've seen. Now, I will say that I've not created all of these comps, not by a long shot. A lot of these are created by different content creators or in the Discord, or just comps that we just generally kind of came together as a community and found out. Some of these I did create, some of these I didn't. But just keep that in mind. I'm not taking credit for any of these. I'm just here to give you the information on how to actually use these comps for yourself. Hopefully this ends up actually helping you out. I know a lot of people were interested in seeing like an Ash 12 guide like I did for Tulpa and like I did for Queen. Unfortunately, Ash 12 is not free to play. As you can see here, there's not a single comp on here that is 100% free to play. Nathalia is either needed, Hydricia is either needed, Molhex or Ciara. Generally, you can't just run Ciara alone. You'll need some other pairings with her. So there's no free-to-play version, so I cannot make that video. And so I decided to go with something like this. Now, if you do want me to do this for Queen and for Tulpa and for the other dungeons, let me know in the comments down below. This one did take quite a while. Obviously, I have to go ahead and do all the research and make sure I get the right stats in order for you to build out the comps yourself and obviously create the graphics and everything like that. So if you do want me to do it, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments down below, because I will make it. It'll just take a while. That'll be it for this video, and I'll see you for the next one.